I'm so excited to join with City Council leadership that is here. Our council member for the slightly best district in the, I know this is going to be disputed by the other two, but the slightly best district in the city, the 13th Council District, Mitch O'Farrell. Give him a round of applause and thank him for being here. The equally good, but not quite as good districts in the, both right across the street in the 4th District, we have Councilmember David Rhew.
Which is your district.
My district. I love living there and I love my council member. And an extraordinary leader as well from the San Fernando Valley from where I come, which if I had to pick an area of the city, which is the best place to be from, it is the Valley. So Monica Rodriguez, please give her a round of applause as well. And we have a lot of general managers that are here. I'll try to mention all of them as I spot them all. But I want to thank Danielle Brazil, who is our general manager of the Department of Cultural Affairs, who has been one of the wing women on this project and has just done an amazing, amazing job. This is not just a special place for Los Angeles. This is not just a kind of holy site for this country. It is now a recognized site for the world. For the heritage of humanity, Hollyhock House now is officially Los Angeles' first World Heritage Site ever. And that's because of all of you. Whose first visit is this to Hollyhock House? Awesome. Awesome. For the students, for the young people especially who are here, this is yours. This isn't something owned by somebody else. When the city was bequeathed this by Eileen Barnesdale, and I'll get to that in a second, that means that it is all of ours. And I want you to feel that this is your place, a place you can own, a place that you can enjoy, a place that you can experience as well. Because in Los Angeles, we don't just mark history, we also make history, and we're counting on you to be a part of that. Today we get to do that because we've worked so long to achieve this day, to create the designation of Hollyhock House as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. A journey that began more than a decade ago. It actually began in 2001. I became council member. I don't know if is Glenn Dake here today? Glenn couldn't make it. So Glenn Dake was my first environmental deputy. Before council offices had environmental deputies, we came out here, who's a landscape architect, and we were looking at what we could do to repair these buildings in all of Barnesdale after the earthquake in 1994. It had been 7 years. But one of the things we had to make a decision, the biggest decision I made, I think, in my first couple of months, was whether or not we could bring back the landscape architecture for this site that Frank Lloyd Wright had put forward. And I had to make a decision on the olive trees, because this was olive hill, of whether they should be fruiting or non-fruiting olive trees. I don't have a lot of regrets as an elected official, but one of them is that I said non-fruiting. Now, I'm sure that the Rec and Parks facilities folks are very glad that I picked non-fruiting, but all the hipsters in Los Feliz and Silver Lake really wanted to press their own olive oil, I'm sure. And so we went with non-fruiting so it would be a little bit easier to maintain. We then got some funds to help some of the other buildings, but in 2006, a city council member, and together with this man who has always loved this place and really been a curator and a protector of it, together we applied to our partners, we joined together with our partners at the Frank Lloyd Wright Building Conservancy, and we took the first step by applying to UNESCO for this designation. It took time. It took patience, but we all made it happen. So as I mentioned, these leaders up here were critical to making this happen. Vince Bertoni, who's back there, the general manager of our city planning department, was critical. Gary Lee Moore, who is over there, our city engineer, was critical. Salita Reynolds, is she here?
Yes.
Okay. She came, but had to go deal with some traffic in the city, I'm sure. Salita Reynolds, our general manager of transportation. Mike Scholl, our general manager of recreation and parks. Steve Simon, our general manager for Department of Disability. Tony Royster, our general manager for General Services Department. Their staffs, by the way, because we always get credit, but it's usually people working with us. All of our boards and commissioners that were part of this. And Project Restore, because it was after we reopened City Hall, my third week in office, that I went to Ed. Is Ed here? Is Ed Avila?
Unable to be.
Okay, I saw him a couple weeks ago. Ed Avila, I went to him and I said, now that we've done the city hall. What about this place in my district at the time that we could do? And it was the first time Project Restore kind of stepped out of being downtown and was able to apply its brilliance here. Their work to stabilize, strengthen, and restore this landmark, a more than $4 million investment that we have made to secure Hollyhock's second century. And of course, our beloved curator, Jeffrey Rhew, who has brought Hollyhock to life. Raise your hand so people know who you are. And I want to give some special love to the folks who probably feel this building living and breathing more than anybody else, the members of the Barnesdale family that are here with us today. Michael Devine and Kate Devine Brady. If you guys could just stand up so we could recognize you. This is the grandson and great-granddaughter of Aileen Barnesdale. If she was still living here today, you guys would be inviting us to this party, by the way, and we'd be thanking you for bringing us to your home. But your grandmother and great-grandmother had the vision to bequeath this to the city with the promise it would stay public land. If she was alive today, she'd be sponsoring plays and probably, you know, cutting-edge Netflix productions. She'd have a big banner up protesting Donald Trump's separation of children at the border, or something that we're doing at City Hall. She was a one-of-a-kind, a real Los Angeles original, whose vision is as much a part of this as Frank Lloyd Wright's. It is his architecture, but it was her vision. And those two things together, with the relationship that we all know was interesting to say the least, was one that created this landmark for all of humanity. This is much more today than about a designation. It's about celebrating the spirit of this city and who we are. A place where people come from all over the world to innovate and create, to dream, and to do. And this was the case in 1919 when Aileen Barnesdale commissioned Frank Lloyd Wright to design a performing arts complex and residence atop this hill that was overlooking our city, this amazing precipice. And it's still the case today as Angelenos come and climb up here, as we've programmed this space, because that's so important, whether it's in the theater or the municipal art gallery or the evenings where people can sip wine and hear music up here. This is, as I mentioned, the first, which I hope of many, UNESCO World Heritage Sites. You can just look up at another one that is absolutely deserving, the most visited observatory in the world, where some of the greatest discoveries were made. See Tom LaBonge there clapping. I forgot to mention Tom LaBonge. I don't know if any of you know him, but if you don't, you should introduce yourself to him. But we break records for visitors year in and year out. In fact, we hit our 50 million mark for visitors from around the country and the world 2 years early this past year in 2018, because places like Hollyhock House attract people of all ages, from all backgrounds, from all across the globe. And I think one of the reasons they come here is because we're such a creative capital, but also because they feel that they belong, even if they've never been here before. At a moment when this country and this world needs that feeling more than ever before, where too many people feel like they don't belong and people exploit that, we need to continue to find those things that bring people together. We want to see those numbers of visitors grow. In fact, since the UNESCO designation, we've seen a doubling of visitors in here, so we've had to order twice as many booties for all of our shoes. And they tell the statistics of a city whose moment has arrived, a city where you can see the face of the world on our streets, where we're right adjacent to Little Armenia and Thai Town, a place where every country is welcome, and some of the largest foreign-born populations are outside their home countries. I walked those hills with the Prime Minister of Canada, Prime Minister Trudeau, because there's more Canadians in Los Angeles than any city outside of Canada. Be careful, they look just like us, sound like us, they lurk amongst us. But it's a city that's built on this belief that access to open spaces is a right, and that treasures like Hollyhock House should be continually updated, improved, so that all communities can share them. Because we know that this is much more than a house. In fact, it really was never first and foremost a house. It is the beating heart of a community where Angelenos of all ages come to learn about the American creativity of Frank Lloyd Wright, take a moment to just relax in this park and let their imaginations roam. And every city has landmarks, but the great cities bring people to them. They don't wall them off, they open them up. And great cities make them accessible and part of their fabric. Those are the ties that then bind us together. Because right out there, right now in this city, maybe one of the young people in this seat is the next Frank Lloyd Wright. And I want you, and maybe she or he is going to be inspired by what they feel in there, realizing this wasn't made by just somebody we call a genius. It was made by a human being like you. And maybe you're the next one to do that. And we're going to give you the tools to succeed. We could see a young girl who could come to the art classes like I did as a kid here at the Junior Arts Center, and then walk across the park to Hollyhock House and learn about the layered history of the site, the Mesoamerican motifs on a concrete canvas rendered from Alien Barnesdale's vision and Wright's imagination, and then decide to become an architect, turning renderings into realities, and change the way that we think and that we see and that we feel, and our children and our children's children. That's the legacy of this place, and that's what this designation is all about, an enduring impact who will be felt by everybody who walks through these doors. So with that, let me hand it over to the man who really ran through that finish line, took the baton, ran even faster than the runner who handed it to him, allowed this great place to get its due praise, and the council member for this district. Please welcome Councilmember Ryu O'Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, sir.
You got it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, friends, and welcome to the Taj Mahal of Los Angeles. The UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, established in 1945. Sites are designated as having outstanding universal appeal. With this designation, Hollyhock House enters into the lexicon of cultural designations that include the Taj Mahal of India, the Forbidden City in Beijing, the Venice Canals, and many more cultural treasures known the world over as UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Frank Lloyd Wright's Hollyhock House becomes the only cultural treasures designation in the state of California, joining the likes of Yosemite National Park and the Redwood Forest that are designated as natural areas of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. But here's some context on how this accomplishment came to be. Not only have we had the complete support of Mayor Garcetti and my colleagues on the Los Angeles City Council, but we know the work that the team put in to get this designation, to make it happen. And it's a very interesting story, and I'll give you the abbreviation. The first attempt was in 2016 when Jeffrey Rhew traveled to Turkey. He sensed that the board wasn't ready to designate the site, so he very wisely and strategically withdrew the application and then resubmitted it in a better environment. And then earlier this month, in Baku, he was notified that it qualified and it was designated as a World Heritage Site. So, yes, Hollyhock House is one of 8 examples of modern architecture across the United States, exemplified in the work of Frank Lloyd Wright. UNESCO is also recognizing some of the other masterpieces, which include the Guggenheim Museum in New York, Falling Water in Pennsylvania. And just a little side note, I come from the state of Oklahoma. We used to make a pilgrimage to Bartlesville just so we could see the Price Tower, the only so-called skyscraper that Frank Lloyd Wright ever designed. That launched me into architecture school because I wanted to become an architect. You can tell that I failed and I became an elected official instead. But nonetheless, what a perfect marriage of love for cultural resources, arts, and architecture to being the council member that is very fortunate and blessed to have the city's and the state's first cultural heritage site from UNESCO in California. Very, very thrilling for me personally. Here's some background that we can talk about. Between 2008 and 2014, Project Restore managed the restoration of the Hollyhock House that the mayor just described. In 2015, the mayor and I and others, general managers, Danielle Brazel, we held a grand reopening of the house with an overwhelmingly successful walk right in, a 24-hour first come, first served tour of this architectural gem. Lines wrapped around the corner all night long, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., it didn't matter. That's how much interest there is in this site. Today, I hope the Barnesdale family will appreciate this. We continue. We are working in collaboration, and Yes, the work continues on Residence A. So we are investing millions of dollars in Residence A. That is the last remaining architecturally designed house by Frank Lloyd Wright that was sitting with no attention paid to it. And I think it's a modern day miracle that it didn't burn down or collapse. But we're saving it, and we're not just saving it, we're preserving it. So that will only add to the importance of this designation, and I couldn't be happier about that as well. I want to share a special recognition with all of the departments and staff who make up the village that got us to this designation. I want to recognize Xiao Lingting. Xiao, where are you? Right over there.
Right, Xiao.
She is the architect who is supervising the renovation, both of the Hollyhock House and now Residence A, which is, as I mentioned, is continuing. The mayor mentioned Gary Lee Moore. I know that we have the Board of Public Works played a role, and my colleague Monica Rodriguez played a role in that when she was on the Board of Public Works, so thank you, Monica. And I know that we're represented by Cecilia Cabello today. Cecilia, are you here still? There she is. Thank you for your support, Board of Public Works. I also want to recognize Ed Avila, who could not be here today, but we have Kevin Ju and Nancy Lopez from Project Restore. Thank you so much. And of course, Danielle Brazel, Jeffrey Herr, and Leslie Thomas from the Department of Cultural Affairs. I saw Leslie. There we are. And so, lastly, I also want to thank Christine Peters of my team. Christine Peters is part of the efforts to get this designated as a World Heritage Site. Thank you so much. I want to give a special highlight to Jeffrey Herr. Every team needs a captain and a champion. Jeffrey has the strategy of a master politician. He has the passion of a true artist, because he is one. And he has been a champion of this effort from the very beginning. In fact, we kept him from retiring because we put Residence A into the hopper to be restored, which was sort of the glue to keep him here for a while longer. So Jeffrey is still here. He is a curator, master, and master of all things Hollyhock House. So, Jeffrey, what I'd like to do is have you come up, and I think we have a plaque. I don't know where the plaque is, but just come up, and we'll at least take a picture with you. I think that this is deserving. So, let's step in front, and we'll take a picture with Jeffrey. Thank you so much. Come on, Danielle.
I'm coming in, but I dropped in my car.
You're right. Okay. Thank you, Jeffrey. And there's one more. Kevin Ju is going to represent Project Restore. Since Ed could not be here today, Kevin and the whole team, this wouldn't be happening without Project Restore. So I think there's a plaque that maybe you have as well.
Yeah.
It's the same one. Oh, let's bring it back.
Okay, there it is.
So much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is going to be incredible. I'm just overwhelmed by this, and we should be. We have to understand what UNESCO means, what this designation means. UNESCO is the organization that cobbled together funding to save the antiquities in Cairo in the 1960s. That's a very important world-renowned group. And now we have the only UNESCO World Heritage Site right here in Los Angeles in the cultural category in the entire state of California. So congratulations to everyone. Long live the Hollyhock House. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you so much, Councilmember. Let me give another shout out to General Manager, I forgot, Claire Bartel, who heads up our Department of Finance. Every time you pay taxes, thank her. because it goes to things like this. So couldn't do without you. And she's also our city treasurer, so she has 2 titles. Next, I'd like to invite my council member up here, a man who has the beauty of the hills here. The 13th district, we always felt like, you know, we've got the cool flats. This is like one of the biggest hills we have is this one. But the 4th council district, which goes from the San Fernando Valley all the way to the edge of Koreatown, circles around some of the most beautiful places. And he's the chair of the committee that oversees, among other things, Rec and Parks and our cultural affairs, and has done a wonderful job shepherding this through. Please welcome Councilmember David Rhew.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good morning, everyone. And it just sounds so good that I got to say it again. Welcome to Los Angeles' first UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Yeah.
And I'm just so happy to be here and honored to be here at this historic day and join our incredible leaders like my mayor, Mr. Eric Garcetti, my colleagues, Mitch O'Farrell and Monica Rodriguez, and the general manager for the Department of Cultural Affairs, Daniel Brazil. Let's give everyone a round of applause again. The Hollyhock House began construction over 100 years ago and brought iconic architecture, innovation for arts and culture, and the visionary work of Frank Lloyd Wright to Los Angeles. And today, thanks to the incredible work of so many people here, this one-of-a-kind house will stand in Los Angeles for centuries to come. This house and the surrounding Barnesdale Art Park stand at the intersection of art, history, and open space. Perched atop Olive Hill as a beacon of our creative capital, its unique architecture is a reflection of our city. Inspired by the natural landscapes, influenced by the Mayan and Spanish revival design, while standing boldly to face the future. But this house and the surrounding park also stands at the intersection of community, where Los Feliz meets East Hollywood and Thai Town meets Little Armenia. And if you come here on a Sunday afternoon, you will see what this place means to this neighborhood and for people from all walks of life who joined in a shared pursuit of sunshine, beauty, and inspiration. By the way, if you are looking for a Sunday afternoon to enjoy, I recommend September 22nd, the annual Barnesdale Art and Crafts Fair. It's an incredible opportunity to find unique handmade items, as well as a testament to the living legacy of this place, and to support and connect our local artists. Did that for Councilman O'Farrell?
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the relationship between the Hollyhock House and Los Angeles runs deep. This house has been a sanctuary for artists since its construction, and it was almost lost in the 1940s. If it wasn't for the activists, preservationists, and artists who rallied to save it. When it underwent its most recent renovations and reopened to the public in 2015, as mentioned by Councilman O'Farrell, people lined up around the block, waiting for up to 3 hours, 24 hours a day, just for a chance to look inside. That just showed how much Angelenos love their local treasure and how important it is to preserve these temples to our unique history, art, and architecture. We know here in Los Angeles that the Hollyhock House is unlike any other place in the world, and it's great to see that the United Nations also agrees. So, of course, none of this would have been made possible without all of you. Thank you for saving history, and thank you for making history with this historic designation. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, council member. Next, a huge fan of culture, a huge promoter of the architecture of this city, and somebody who, as was mentioned on the Board of Public Works, helped work on this, and now as council member, I know is celebrating alongside with us. She's going to bring all the San Fernando Valley to Hollyhock House, and we're so pleased that she is here. Please welcome our friend, Monica Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mayor. And I know everybody was thinking, why the heck is the council member from the Northeast San Fernando Valley here to celebrate this incredible accomplishment? And that is because we are proud as a city family of what we were able to accomplish and achieve together. I think it's a testimony to how phenomenal of a team that we have here in Los Angeles that helps to not only preserve our incredible cultural monuments, and I want to thank folks from Project Restore, especially Kevin Ju, who has done an outstanding job of being that that shepherd to help protect so much of our cultural history. Of course, Jeffrey, your leadership and passion for this has brought us to this day. And I want to thank you for your work. Of course, Danielle Brazel, who's been an incredible preservationist when it comes to our arts and cultural history here in Los Angeles. It really does take a team. And I was honored to have had the opportunity to serve on the Board of Public Works as appointed by our great mayor, Eric Garcetti. And it was in that tenure that I had the opportunity to first visit Hollyhock House for the first time as a lifelong Angelino and see and observe and witness the work that was being invested here to help preserve this special part of Los Angeles history. It was subsequent to our appointment that we got to experience this opening in 2015, and that I then had the opportunity to visit with the delegation from UNESCO here at Hollyhock House, give them that tour, and make impassioned pleas for why it was so important to have this designation here in Los Angeles. I'm incredibly honored to be part of this very historic occasion and to have this little piece of LA history that's being made here on all of our watch. And so I want to congratulate everyone here and say thank you so much for helping us become the first. We sure as heck know how it works now, so this won't be the last. And so congratulations to everyone. And of course, Mitch, this is, I said this to you in council yesterday, this is really remarkable for us in Los Angeles. I am incredibly proud of what we are able to accomplish together, and this is just one example of that. So congratulations, everyone. Congratulations, Los Angeles, and welcome, world, to one of the most phenomenal sites that we have here to celebrate and share with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, council members, for your collective work and vision on this. I want to also thank from my team a couple folks that are here as well. Nicole Serrano, who is the representative here in the central part of the city for me. Thank you, Nicole, for your great work. To our deputy mayors, Barbara Romero and Nina Hachigian, who are very involved in this, and Billy Chun as well, who I think was going to be here. I see Nina's here, but let's give them a round of applause. And none of this gets done without their extraordinary work as well. Finally, I'm going to ask our general manager, Danielle Brazel, who I got to know when I was just a council member and she was just an advocate. And look at us now. So we've done amazing things together, whether it's the first kind of Biennale of art here in Los Angeles, winning grants from the Bloomberg Foundation, whether it's looking at the Cultural Olympiad that we're going to be looking at in the 9 years leading up to the Paralympics and Olympics, and the work that we can do to echo what happened in 1984 when we got an opera and put the murals in places like Pacoima and downtown and everywhere. She's really been an outstanding, not only Los Angeles leader, but international arts leader. And today, the proof is in the pudding. Your general manager, Danielle Brazel.
Thank you. So when the mayor hired me just over 5 years ago, I was like, does he know who I am? Because I was packing the halls of City Hall, advocating for the arts in Los Angeles, because the arts just aren't this kind of nicety. It's not this thing that some people call dessert. It's actually part of life. It's part of who we are. It's what makes life worth living, in a sense. And I am incredibly grateful to you for your extraordinary leadership. The Department of Cultural Affairs has been building back its own capacity and its own presence in Los Angeles, and that is tremendously because of you and the council's leadership, because these guys realize, and women realize, the importance of culture, not just for the few, but for the all, and for our civic society to be alive. There are a few people that I need and must thank. First and foremost, the docents of Hollyhock,
yes,
the volunteers. We have over 100 core that are coming out every single day and touring people to this house. That is extraordinary. Thank you for your service. We also have an extraordinary foundation, the Barnesdale Art Park Foundation. I saw Janice and Christian and Dawn here. Please wave. Your support and your effort has been just so critical to make sure that you can support what the city cannot do. Christopher Hawthorne, your shepherding, your advice, your counsel, your scholarly approach to design in Los Angeles is bold and visionary, and we are so grateful.
And his documentary, which is available to you as you come out here.
So thank you so much. And you're absolutely right. This does take a village. Our partners with Recreation and Park, APD is Mike Scholl. This park looks so extraordinarily beautiful. Thank you for all of your work. Thank you for your incredible partnership. We couldn't have done this before without you. Ted Ross from ITA and ITA for making sure we have digital connectivity. Deborah Weintraub is also here today. I want to thank her for her vision and her leadership. Of course, Xiaoling Ting, Kevin Zhu, absolutely. Rosemary Pulzanen from DOD, Department of Disability. Thank you for making sure that our virtual accessibility program is up to snuff. I want to just thank John Merritt and the entire Innovation Performance Commission. I saw Jerry Levy here. Thank you for the funding to do this, and I'll share with you a little bit of what I'm thanking them for. Astrid Reed and Greg Lennon, the team from AVA Inclusivity, and then, of course, Elaine Barnesdale's grandson, Michael Devine, and great daughter, Kate Brady. Thank you so very much. I'm so excited to be able to tell you about 2 additional projects that we're launching today to ensure that everyone can access and experience the house. We have the virtual accessibility experience where you can log on to hollyhockvirtual.org and experience the house, which is ADA compliant, online through any tablet. You can do it right now. You can do it in the house as well as outside. And we're also launching the Hollyhock Digital Archive, where we have over 100 documents, plans, renderings, artifacts that scholars and enthusiasts alike can learn more about the house, and that's available via hollyhockhousearchive.org. And then finally, I just want to say something to this extraordinary group of young folks that are here with us today. You got architects, you got people with general services here, you got people from Recreation and Parks, you've got elected officials, you've got basically the city family, your city family here that's trying to make the city better for you. And I would say this, as you think about what kind of careers you want to have, if you don't want to be like a famous music artist or movie star, I mean, you know, you could do that. But you could also kind of enter public service, and you can do really great things for your community. So think about that, and we welcome you to come and join us for that.
Good message.
So here's the other thing. A philanthropist, an art collector, a political radical, and a single parent? Aline Barnesdale saw the potential for this space where ideas and creativity can merge. She wanted the Frank Lloyd Wright designed structures to become a permanent home for the appreciation of art and architecture when she gave the park to the city in 1927. And by doing so, she provided an art center to the community that incorporated and preserved the famous Hollyhock House as a crucial component. But perhaps the most lasting legacy she left is a dedicated place maintained and operated by your city for all to celebrate and enjoy the culture. With this inscription by UNESCO, her dream continues. And this designation also comes with great responsibility for us to continue to maintain this site, to expand more sites, and to make sure that these are available for generations. We left you a little gift coming out. Please take those seeds, sow them as you will, and please celebrate this moment for your city. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Thank you. Awesome. Well, thank you all. Before it gets super hot, I just want to thank everybody for making this moment happen. There's been 2 or 3 significant moments of history of this house: when it first opened, when it was reopened, and now this moment of designation. And it's great that you kind of paraphrase Stan Lee there, you know, to say with great recognition comes great responsibility. But it's what I want to leave you with, that we need to pass that baton on to the next generation. 50 years from now, this place will be in need of that constant investment. Next week, it'll be in need of that constant curation. And and volunteerism. And if we are able to do that and fulfill that, then I think we'll be worthy of this designation, because it's been given to us by this globe, for this globe. We are just the caretakers of it. So congratulations, everybody, and enjoy this wonderful home. Congrats.